Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. Before we get started with this video, I do want to apologize in advance for how my voice sounds. I caught a little bit of a cold yesterday, and I've been dealing with it at about, I would say half court press. I haven't deployed the heavy artillery, that being the cold meds yet, but I've been dealing with it via stuff like sucking down cough drops like they're candy and drinking hot apple cider at work. So I'm a little bit plugged up, but at least I still have my voice. The laryngitis isn't with it, so we're going to go ahead with this week's video. We're back from space last week via Starfinder, so now we're going to step into our own private horror movie. We're going to play Final Girl from Van Ryder Games, and we'll probably see why I haven't had a Valentine since 2010. In this game, we take control of one of several girls who are dropped into a horror movie scenario to try to kill a movie monster. This is a modular game where we set up a killer and a location together, and that's our game. Anyway, let's go meet our killer first. We're going to have a rematch from the first time when I played this game. We're going to take on Hans the Butcher again. He's got 12 health, which you can see counted out over here in 11 hearts, and the +1 die on the final health token. He'll advance up his Bloodlust track to the point of eventually unlocking a Dark Power and his finale card. So on the killer phase, that's what he'll do at the start of the killer phase. You can see there are a few points here where we'll increase the horror rating, so we'll need to be very careful of that. On that note, I think we can move over to the board and go through our setting next. Once again, we are playing at Camp Happy Trails like we did before. So we've got our setup here, which is skinny dipping. Our final girl starts down here. Hans is right here. Then we've got 2 victims at the fire pit, 1 over here at the lake, 2 more at the cliff, 2 at Makeout Point, 1 in the cabins, and then 2 more in separate spaces in the forest. So we do need to flip over the top card of each item deck. So at these locations, the dock is 1, the utility shed and the cabins, they each have a stack of items next to them. So first we'll see what's at the cabin, on top of the cabins deck we'll find. Pepper spray here. A few squirts in their eyes and they'll think twice about messing with this girl. It's a 1-hand slot. If the killer is in your space, you may discard this to immediately end the killer phase. Ignore the remaining movement, attacks, and any other effects. Then at the dock where we're at, we'll find a knife. Great for whittling, also great for stabbing maniacs. We have to be in melee range to use it, does an additional damage, and a 1-hand slot. Might try to grab that as fast as we can. Then at the utility shed, we find an energy drink. There's no way these things are good for you, but they're better than dying, you would think. We can discard this during the action phase to choose one of the following. Either gain 3 time or move 1 space. Once again, we are using the minis here, so there's our Hans mini. And there's our Final Girl mini. So speaking of our Final Girl, let's go ahead and drop down to meet tonight's final girl. Here's tonight's final girl, Barbara. She starts off with 7 health, and I'll point out how I've got it also counted out in hearts and her final health token, which will let us roll additional dice when either Barbara or Hans is on their last legs. We also have special abilities that we can gain when we save victims. So if we save a victim here, we can decrease the horror rating by 1. This will give us an extra 2 time. This will let us heal health. This will let us move a space. And we can take any top item card, which might be tempting to try to grab the knife right away since we are at the docks. And that will also require us staying put, which might end up being worth it potentially, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on that. So with that, I think everything is all set to go, so let's move up top and get into this game. One last step with setup is we do need to reveal our first event card. So first up we find Stubborn Kids. Damn teenagers think they know everything. One less victim will follow you. Oh, that's delightful. So these idiots are going to be probably getting... They're probably going to get themselves killed doing this. On that note, we'll bring the dice tower in shot. I'll put it over here because I don't think we'll end up needing the... yeah, we can get it over there. So I guess the question here is... what do I want to start off with? Do I want to try to search... Do I want to try to go searching for the knife right away? Which would basically amount to me discarding... Actually, that's not a bad idea. We'll see if we can knock the horror rating down right away. So we'll start off with a focus to do that. Okay, think. I know what I have to do. It's scary, but I have to get over that and focus on my next move. So the way we'll do that is we'll roll dice depending on the horror rating. So we'll move back down. You kind of could see it in shot there a little bit. The killer starts off with a horror rating of 4 in this case. It'll be specified on the character board for each killer. That dictates the number of dice you roll. Because we're starting at a horror rating of 4, that lets us roll 2 dice. As we get further to the good side of the track, we'll actually be able to roll more dice and potentially get time as we move down the horror track further. Then moving up is similarly bad, where it'll make us roll fewer dice, and potentially add to the killer's bloodlust. So, with that, we'll put the focus down in there. We'll move back up here. Then we'll grab out 2 dice. So what we're looking to see is that face ideally. We can take that face, since I think we're staying put this turn, but I would prefer to have 2 scars come up, which are on the 5s and 6s. So let's see what we get here. Perfect. So that will let me actually decrease the horror rating by 1, and I gain 2 time. So we will actually go ahead and run that back, see if we have similar luck again. Hold on. I'm gonna have to reset things here. It was 2, 2, and 2's here and make out point. Okay, so we can discard 2 cards. We can discard 4 cards if we want 2 successes. And okay, you were there. And I think I do, honestly. I was going to be discarding these cards for time anyway. So we'll take 2 successes, which will give us another 2 time, and knock the horror rating down again. So with that, we are out of cards, which means we're at the end of the action phase. So now in the planning phase, I'm going to grab 2 searches for 2 time. So that'll bring me back down to 6. I'll grab a sprint for 2 time, bringing me down to 4. I guess I'll grab another sprint for 2 more time, and then I'll grab 2 close calls. So that'll do it for my planning phase. Now for the killer phase, we resolve the killer action, which, as we saw, was targeting either the final girl or a victim he would attack, but there's neither in his space, so he doesn't do anything. Then we have the panic phase, but nobody was killed, so there's no panic to worry about. Then we do we do draw a terror card in the killer phase. So I skipped through the panic phase, but anyway, our first terror card. Minor dark power for unholy speed. Hans moves 1 space for each boot, and we need 2 hits to take it out. So we need to put 2 hits on Hans, which means he's going to be moving faster, but thankfully he doesn't move in the killer phase. So that's an uneventful round 1. Let's get right into round 2. We'll start round 2 off with a search right away. So here, I'm ideally looking for at least 1 success. I can take no successes, but I'd rather not increase the horror rating and lose a time. So we'll bring those in here. Since I am at the dock, the item I'd be considering here is the knife. Okay, that's 1 success, and I can discard a card if I want an additional success. I can discard 2 cards if I want an additional success. I think I'll actually play Close Call first. So I'll reroll the 3 I got. See if I can make a little better result out of that. I cannot. The question is that going to be worth trying to reroll? I don't think it is. So I will just take the knife for now. I'll put that in Barbara's hands, and then that stays. Okay, that stays. That doesn't get revealed yet. Alright, so at least I have a knife now, which means I can do something there. Let's see what we can do with the sprint next. So here, 2 successes lets me move up to 3 space for losing a time. 1 success lets me move up to 2 spaces, lose a time. No successes, I move up to 1 space, lose a health, lose 2 time, and end the action phase, or I can lose a health and lose 2 time. So we'll go ahead and roll that out. Alright, so I do get a success, and I can discard 2 cards if I want another success. I'm actually going to play my other Close Call for that first. And get 2 successes, so I can move up to 2 spaces, which means I will move... Let's move 1, 2... Because is that a max of up to 3? If it's a max of up to 2 victims, then that's going to be a problem getting victims out. Let me just double check that. It might take up to 2 victims, so I can only take 1 with me. Which means I can actually bring that victim with me. Actually, that would be a huge problem if 1 less victim would follow me, which means I'm basically just not... I'm going to rule that that's a max. That means 1 victim max will follow me, so I'll bring her with me. I'm probably going to get corrected that it means that if there's only 1 victim in my space, none of them will follow me, but that just seems like it would make the scenario way too difficult. I mean, it's possible that it happens, but... And I do get to move... Actually, I do get to move up to 3 spaces with 2 successes, so I'll move 1, 2, 3, getting 1 victim out, and I will take... I do lose a time on that sprint. Let's decrease the horror rating again by 1. So now I'm rolling 3 dice. Then we'll play another sprint. See if I can get things moving here. Oh. I will need a 3rd die in a second. Oh, come on. Why are you getting stuck in the dice tower? Okay, I was having problems with those dice, so I'm going to roll those again. These are actually normal-sized dice. I don't know why they're getting stuck in the tower. Oh, come on. Give me a break. Alright, so I do have 1 success, which means I can move up to 2 spaces. So I'll move 1, 2 into the cabins, which loses me another time. And then I'll go ahead and play out another search. I want to see if I can... The knife's a good start, but I want to see if I can get a better... Maybe get a better weapon than that. there's one success, which I will take that. I don't have 2 cards to discard. So I'll take the pepper spray, put that in my backpack. And then since I'm out of cards, that is the end of the phase. So I'll organize these all. Search, sprints, close call. Which means I get these 0 cost cards back and then I have 4 time to spend. Which I will take the... I guess I'll take a distraction for 3, and then the 1 floats away since I had the close calls in hand. With that, the next killer phase, once again, Hans doesn't do anything, so we draw a terror card. We find... He just came out of nowhere. Place Hans with the farthest target possible. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we place him in the fire pit. Increase the horror rating by 1, so I'm only rolling 2 dice now. And draw the next terror card. Yikes. So next up, he kept swinging his hammer and killing and killing. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. Otherwise, targeting a victim, he'll move, except there's already 2 in his space. So basically end up killing both of them because he'll resolve the targeting a victim, move, then attack twice. So 2 victims to the pool, which means his bloodlust goes up by 2, and the horror rating goes up as well. Joy, joy. Right. So panic phase, I think that's anybody, panic all victims in the killer's space. So the victims in the killer's space were all killed. So nobody there to panic. Upkeep phase, we would reveal the finale, but there's nothing there. And what's the rearrange items step? I gotta double check this. You may okay, you can rearrange items. Okay, we're all good there. So I'll actually move the pepper spray into hand in case I land in the same space with Hans. That will do it for round 2. Round 3, and I want to see if I can get one of these victims potentially out. Let's start off with the distraction first. So if I get 2 successes, I decrease the horror rating by 2 and get 2 time. 1 success decreases the horror rating by 1 and 1 time. No successes, I decrease the horror rating by 1, but I lose 4 time. Or I increase the horror rating and only lose 2 time. That's a problem. Right. So let's see what we can do with that. Okay, so that's 1 card. I can discard 2 cards if I want a success. And I think I kind of do. So I'll discard the weak attack and the short rest to be able to get a success, which will let me decrease the horror rating by 1 and gain a time. So I'm up to 7. Then I will... Do I want to get ready to try to start doing some damage to Hans, or do I want to try to get another victim out? Let's try to get another victim out. So I'm going to walk here. Unfortunately, I'm still only rolling 2 dice. Let me go through walk. 1 foot in front of the other, nice and slow. There is a bloodthirsty killer after me, but that's no reason to panic. Right? 2 successes lets me move up to 2 spaces and loses me a time. 1 success lets me move up to 1 space and I lose a time. 0 successes, I can either move up to a space, lose a health, and lose 2 time, or just lose 2 time. Alright, let's see what we do here. Bubkiss. I do think a walk right now is too important, so we'll move there. Then I'll lose a health and lose 2 time, which will bring me down to 5. Put that there. Then we're going to focus. See if I can knock the horror rating down. Those dice are going in the naughty corner because they're not doing much for me so far. Let's bring the dice tower back in shot. Delightful. So if I want to discard a card, I can have a success on that. Or if I want to discard 2 cards, and I don't think I do, so we'll just lose 2 time on that. Let's see if I can get the victim out. There's a success. So I will be able to move the victim out. And which one do I want to cover? I'm actually going to take the move 1 space. So I'll move back over here to this camp space. And then, what is this? Focus. We'll use that to try to knock the horror rating down again. And of course, I can't discard cards for successes that I don't have. So that's the end of the round. I've got 3 time to buy with. So I'll just grab another distraction. And then the killer phase. Hans once again doesn't have anybody to attack. So our next terror card we find. Unholy Rage, another minor dark power. Hans deals an additional damage for each attack, and we need 2 health to take that out as well. Okay, no panic phase, no upkeep phase. Well, upkeep would be rearranging everything. So with that, we're into round 3, and looks like we're just trying to knock the horror rating down this turn. We'll go ahead with a distraction here. So once again, we're looking for 2 successes ideally. That goes up to 6 time. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I think I will knock the horror rating down, but I'll lose 4 time on that. I needed that to be a hit, really, so these 0 costs come back to my hand. And then for 2 time, I'll grab a sprint. So a pretty short action and planning phase. Killer phase, once again, he does nothing. Then the terror phase. Let's go see if the rumors are true. Place 2 new victims in the space where the killer started the game. Idiots. Then the horror rating goes back up, so we're only rolling 2 dice. We didn't get to take advantage of that. Killer started here. And then we increase the horror rating, so we're back up to 2. And then we draw another event card, so we find Death Wish. I gotta get a better look, even if it kills me. During the upkeep phase, move the victim closest to the killer 1 space towards it. Don't count victims currently in the same space as a killer. You idiots. Yeah, that's a problem. So now we'd have the panic phase, except nobody panicked. Then upkeep phase. This is the closest victim, so yeah, so this one will move closest to the killer. And then that's it for the upkeep phase. Let's see what we can do in round... Are we in round 4 already? We're in round 3? Yikes. Right, because we had a turn where we had to reveal 2 terror cards. I think that was the first round, actually. So yeah, it looks like this is round 3. Let's start off with a focus and try to knock the horror rating back down. These dice are going to be headed for the naughty corner too pretty quick. No kidding, yeah. So we lose 2 time. These dice are going to the naughty corner as well. Let's run the focus back again. See if we do any better with these. Okay, there's a success at least, so we can knock the horror rating back down. And we lose a time on that. Then I think we're going to sprint. So now we're rolling 3 dice. Unfortunately, I've got to take 1 out of the naughty corner because I need more dice. Two successes at least, so I get to move up to 3 spaces. So we'll move 1, 2, 3, get another victim out, and I will cover up the 2 time to go back up to 5 time. Are we ready to start trying to do some damage to Hans? He's going to be hitting, he'd hit us for 2 if we did that. I'm not wholly in love with that idea, but it's a serviceable idea, I think. Let's walk, see what we can do with that idea. I can discard 2 cards if I want a success, and I think I'll discard a walk into short rest so I can get in there, which does lose me a time, and then I'll discard my last weak attack for 1 more time, so that brings me up to 5. Let's see, what do I want for 5? I think a distraction and 2 close calls, and we let the other time float away. Just make sure these are all 0 cost. Okay, the sprint's a 2. Alright, so killer phase. We resolve the killer action. There's nobody in the space. So the next terror card. He's just standing there, going up 2 horror, which is unfortunate, so we're up to 3. Then he targeting either a victim or us, he'll move twice. I wonder how that works. I think since we're closer, he'll look for us. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Let me look. Okay, unless otherwise specified, target the closest option. So he'll come join me in the space, which is not exactly where I want to be right now. But I don't think I can... Well, actually, no, I think we can get away with this. So, with that, let's go into round... I think this is round 4. Yep, this is round 4 right now. So, let's see if we can't get out of this space. Or at least survive. We'll go ahead and start off with our distraction. Once again, we want to try to bring the horror rating back down. Alright, there's 1 success, and I'll discard both my close calls, so I bring the horror rating back down by 2. And then that was it for my turn, so I'll get all the 0 cost cards back. Let's see, that gives me 2 times, so that brings me up to 8 time. I think it's time to start trying to do some damage, so I will grab... We'll go ahead and grab a couple of Furious... We'll go ahead and grab a Furious Strike for 4 time. And... planning for 4 time as well. So the 0 cost cards are back in my hand. Killer phase, except the killer's in the space. So I'm going to discard the pepper spray to immediately end the killer phase, which means the killer does nothing this turn. So that's going to get out of my way. Which means we don't do anything. We don't even draw. Immediately end the killer phase. So we don't even draw a terror card. A terror card off of that. There's no panic phase. And then there would be an upkeep phase. So yeah, we actually get to skip the killer phase completely, which is very fortunate. So with that, we're into round 5, and let's see if we can do some damage to this guy. We'll lead off the round here with our planning. So this is a new card. I need a plan. Think. Wait, if I just... and finally, yes, that could work. It has to work. That will move over there. Alright, so let's go through the results. 2 successes gives me 3 extra dice for the next horror roll. 1 success gives me 2 for the next horror roll, but it costs me a time. No successes gives me 1 for the next horror roll. Horror rating up by 1 and lose 2 time. So we are rolling 3 dice since we managed to skip the killer phase. There's 2 successes, so we get 3 dice for the next horror rating, which will be a Furious Strike. Bitch? Who you calling bitch? You want a bitch? I'll show you a bitch. Don't yell at me, it's on the card. 2 successes means you do 2 damage, in our case 3 because we're using the knife, and decrease the horror rating by 1. 1 success, 1 damage, horror rating down by 1, but the action phase ends. No successes, take no damage, horror rating goes up by 1, and the action phase ends. So we'll grab 6 dice, since we had 3 from the planning phase. Okay, so I do have a bunch of successes, a bunch of results in there that I can work with. So I do have a success, and I will discard the... Let's see, where did I put the... Oh, Furious Strike I put down here. I will definitely discard 2 cards so I can do an extra point of damage and not have the action phase end. We'll discard the Short Rest and a Focus to that. So I get to do 3 damage to Hans, 1 more because I have the knife. And the horror rating goes down by 1, but since it's already maxed out, I gain another time. Then we're going to do a weak attack, so I'm still rolling 3 dice. I'll take the 6 and these 2 4s. Hopefully we can turn that into something really good. Okay, I could discard 2 cards for another hit if I want it without taking damage, and I think I will. So that'll give me 2 more damage off of Hans. But now I kind of want to get out of the space, so we're going to play our walk. Which is risky, but like I said, I want out of the space at this point. Come on. 2 successes, though, so that actually works out very nicely. So, I guess the question now is, do I want to be... Well, I'm already going to be tied for closest here, so I can actually move 2 and get into space with this victim. So that does cost me a time as well, which brings me down to 6. So that's the end of the action phase. Where was he? I think he was He wasn't here. Might have been here, I think. Anyway. Alright, so 6 time. I can't use any of my 0 costs. Hans is going to be moving toward me anyway, so there's an argument to... He's going to be coming toward me anyway, so do I just go for broke here? I think I might just go for broke here, honestly, so I'm just going to grab... I'm going to grab the critical blow, because if he moves, he's moving toward me anyway. This way I can kind of go for the home run. Which might be a bit of a reckless plan, but... Hey, I'm not going to win this game if I don't take it or some reckless chances, right? Alright, so killer phase. Nothing happens since there's nobody in the space, so we go to the terror card next. We draw. Hans wants me. He's always wanted me. Well, he's moving toward me anyway, so he moves 2 spaces toward me, and then he attacks me for 3 damage, which could be problematic since I can't get out of the space this turn. Not that I mind that right now, because we are, like I said, we are going for the home run here. So with that, upkeep phase, he didn't kill anybody this turn, so the victim doesn't panic. With that, we're into round 6, I think this is, and let's see if we can do some damage. If this critical blow doesn't work, we're going to be in a seriously bad way. Well, we might not be in too bad a way. Alright, so I get 1 success, which I would be doing 3. I'll be doing 3 damage anyway, so that comes off. Come on. Alright, then we gain another time because we would decrease the horror rating again, so that goes up. Okay. But the action phase is over. It was over anyway because I was looking at because I only had 1 card in hand anyway. So, let's see, we get the 0 costs back. Now we are probably going to have to go for... I think we are going to have to go for it here. So, I think we go Improvise and Furious Strike. Like I said, we're pretty much at a point here where we have to go for it. So... Killer phase, he will attack, so he'll kill one of these victims, which will send his bloodlust up, thankfully not causing us any problems there. Then on the terror card we find he just keeps coming, increase the horror rating, which is unfortunate. Then he targeting either the final girl, either Barbara or a victim, except he's already there with both of us. So he'll choose the victim over Barbara, which actually kind of works for us. So he'll kill her, which will increase his bloodlust and then increase the horror rating. Alright, so that was the terror card. No victims left to panic. It's unfortunate that we had the horror rating go up on us, but like I said, here I think we're in a situation where that'll go down to 6. Here we have to go for it. So we're into round 6 now. Oh, during the upkeep phase, these 2 should have been probably moved up here. I wasn't paying attention to Death Wish. I kind of forgot it was over there. But now that we've got that all straight, we're into the next round now, and here's where we've got to go for it. First card we're going to play is Improvise. It's time to improvise, to go off script. They'll never see it coming. 2 successes until this action phase ends. All 3s and 4s are successes. 1 success for the next horror roll only. All 3s and 4s are successes. No successes, increase the horror rating, and lose a time. I really need 2 successes here. In fact, I'm going to get some cards ready to dump. I'll be okay dumping that, probably those, and that. But with that, here's what I would consider to be the moment of truth. Alright, so there's a 6, which means for the next horror roll only, all 3s and 4s are successes, which is the best we're going to get. So, okay. So here we are going to go for a Furious Strike, which means we are potentially doing 3 damage here at most, because 3s and 4s are successes for this roll. Actually, we'll do that properly. And we roll 2 5s, of course. So we do 3 damage. The horror rating's down by 1. And we're actually in a favorable situation right now because this token actually means that we get to roll, come on. This token means we actually get to roll 1 additional die. So we'll be rolling 3 dice here as we try a weak attack. And here I'm hoping for no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. The whammy is actually going to be on the back of that token, but we'll find out soon enough. Alright, so we can discard 4 cards for 2 successes, and I'd rather not take damage if I can help it. So I'm going to discard a short rest, both my foci and one of my walks, because I do want to make sure I do 1 damage. But the game's not over yet, because on the back of these tokens, and we saw this in my first playthrough of Final Girl back in October, on the back of these could be either some number of health or blank. We want this to be blank, so here's the no whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Whammy! So he comes back with 2 health. But his token changes a little bit, because we can see here, it's white. So now we have to kill him again, basically. The monster came back to life, which is very unfortunate for us. Alright, so... okay, now I need the walk. I need to get out of this space if I can. And unfortunately, we're back to rolling 2 dice. I need out of this space so I can prepare for my attack. Hopefully my last attack, too. And of course, I don't have cards to discard, so that's actually, I think I do have to move a space, though, so I'll move up here, which will cost me a health, but I need this too much. And I lose 2 time. So I think I use the Furious Strike here. Yep. Alright. Well, so that goes there. Improvise goes here, and then I've got 4 time. So in case he moves, I'm going to take a Retaliate. With that, that's the end of the action phase. Killer phase, there's nobody there for Hans to attack, so we reveal his next terror card we find. He just keeps coming. Delightful. So horror rating goes up by 1. He moves up to us, and then he attacks, so he'll take out one of these victims, which means his bloodlust will increase again, and we'll reveal his major dark power. So Hans' dark power for this episode is Blood Frenzy. Epic dark power. For every victim that Hans kills, +1 bloodlust. So his bloodlust would go up by 2 on that. Let's see, then in the upkeep phase, we did kill a victim, so they panic. Let's see. So on a I never did understand which direction they panic in. Do they panic to the... Okay, so they roll okay, so 3 dice are rolled for the victims. 6... Okay, so it looks like it's from the front of the location. So 1 to 4 goes here, 5 goes here, 6 goes here. So a 4, which means this victim panics here. Alright, then upkeep phase, we have 1 terror card left, but I don't think we're going to draw it because we're heading into the last turn of the game, which is round, I think, 7 now. Because we took the retaliate, we actually don't have any actions this turn, so we blow right through the action phase into the planning phase, which means we get the 0 cost back, which will be good for discard fodder. And then with 6 time, I think we're right back to going for it, so we've got to take the critical blow. Then for the killer phase, he will attack, which is where we'll use retaliate to try to defend. So here I'm hoping to get at least 1 success naturally, but I do have discard fodder here. Which I will need, so I will discard... I'll discard my short rest and my walk, just to give me 1 success. So I reduce damage by 2, which means he's doing 3 damage, so actually he still does 2... Oh no, he reduces by 2, so he's doing 1 damage to me, which means I'm on my last health right now. But we are definitely in a situation where we absolutely have to go for it. So our last terror card... He wants fresh blood. If there are no victims on the board, discard and draw the next terror card. Otherwise, moving toward a victim, he'll move and then he'll attack. So he'll move and then he'll kill this last victim, which will bump his bloodlust up. So now he's doing 4 damage. And then during the panic phase, there are no victims there. So upkeep phase, we'll move the closest victim 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this victim moves. And we reveal Hans's finale card, so we'll see how this changes the killer phase. Bloodbath. So he's charging to the closest victim, moving twice, and attacking twice. Yikes. Which basically means we need to take him out right now. So with that, let's move into my next turn, and hopefully this will be the last turn of the game. Actually, this will be our last turn of the game. We have to start off with a walk, though. Having Hans move away from us kind of set me back a little bit in tempo. Hopefully we can recover it here. There we go. Okay, so I can't risk... Actually, I get to roll an extra die. I forgot I'm on my last health as well, so I get a success naturally. Okay, that was actually perfect timing. So the walk means I actually do get to move a space. I lose a time, but that protects my hand for this roll, and this is a critical one for critical blow. So if I'm able to connect here, I will win the game. If I'm able to connect here with at least 1 hit, I will win the game. Actually, I think I win even if I end up dying in the process. But there's something extra that I won't get. In the rare case that you're still victorious because you accomplished your goal even if it required the ultimate sacrifice. Okay. So we've got 3 dice in there because I'm on my last health as well. And I've got discard fodder ready in case I need it. Which I don't need it because I got 1 success. So I dealt 2 damage to Hans, which is actually 3 because of the knife. Which means Barbara has actually managed to kill Hans and win the game. So that worked out very, very nicely. Which means we get one of these cards. Let me look for Barbara's Eyes only. There it is. So that makes so this is actually the second final girl that I've won a game with. For Barbara's Eyes only, do not open until you have survived a game with Barbara. If you don't want spoilers on what's in here, skip aside about 30 seconds, I would say, to be on the safe side. So anyway, I'm going to get to crack this open. Okay, and here we find Barbara's rifle. Blowing this maniac's head off with old Betsy should be cake. Range of 1 to 4, so we have to be at least 1 space away to use this. Does an extra damage, both hands. Can only modify the weak attack card, and only Barbara may use this item. It's also got 4 uses on it. So yeah, so like I said, that is our second final girl that I've survived a game with, whether off channel or on, and I won't spoil the other one I've survived a game with, but that will do it for this playthrough of Final Girl. Definitely came down to the wire. And just for curiosity's sake, I want to see what was on the other side of Barbara's token. Barbara would have been dead, so good thing I took Hans out with 1 health to spare. But that will do it for this playthrough of Final Girl. Sunday, we're going to be playing the 3rd game from the Tack Up Wargaming list, along with the first app-based game on the channel, as we play Star Wars Imperial Assault. Next week, we'll be playing Metal Dawn, which is also on my Tack Up Wargaming list. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.